Yesterday, as I was sitting with a group of friends, one of them mentioned that she had a health condition called PCOS that really was incurable, and there was not really nothing that you could do about it other than just manage the disease, and it made life pretty hard for her. It wasn't appropriate at that time, but I really want to focus the message on of this podcast on the fact that a lot of diseases that people say are incurable are not; they're reversible, and it might not be easy, and it might take a little bit of time and effort and consistency and persistence, but it is possible. And today I wanted to illustrate that with a health challenge that I went through a couple years ago. Let's talk about that. Hi, I'm Pierce Whitley, your integrative health practitioner, bringing you weekly inspiration to help you pull up your health issues by the root. As we cultivate balance in our bodies, our soil will become inhospitable to symptoms. Welcome to Vitally Balanced. With that information, now I want to talk about the three different approaches that I tried to take in order to heal from these symptoms that I had. The first one was I went to my primary care physician, my medical doctor, and he was very smart, very smart man, and knows a lot about medicine. However, when I went to him for these symptoms, all he told me to do were take some probiotics, and frankly, those didn't help at all. If anything, they made it worse, and that's because with those that one probiotic pill was not addressing the root cause of why I was having these digestive symptoms. And so that kind of is representative of the two approaches that conventional medicine will take to chronic health conditions. They'll either say we don't know what to do about it, which is honestly very humble on their part, but also frustrating on ours because we look to them and we say you should know what to do for these symptoms that I'm experiencing. And the second approach that they'll take is they say, okay, well we can't cure this, but we can give you some medications to manage the symptoms. And that's also very noble on their part because they're using the tools they've got at their disposal, what they've learned to do in medical school, to do the best thing that they know how to do for you. And that's very noble. The problem is that in medical school they're given tools that are best for helping acute health conditions, like in hospitals, you're going to die. How do we save your life? Or surgeries or things like that. But when it comes to these long-term chronic health conditions, that they just want to put band-aids on them because those are the only tools they have. And when we put band-aids on these things, it's not like we're really solving the problem. We're just suppressing the symptoms. And that doesn't really do anything for you because you're probably still living with some of the symptoms and some degree of side effects from the medications. And because we're not solving the problem, some other problem is going to pop up somewhere at some point, and you're not really becoming healthier. You're just delaying the inevitable decline of your health that's coming with these imbalances in your body. And so that moves us along to the second thing that I did in order to try to heal, and that was to there was a company that I do trust, and use some of their supplements even sometimes. But they sell lab tests online and they provide consultations with them. I'm not going to say which company it is because that's not the purpose of this podcast. But I went to them and I purchased an at-home lab test, and I still use some of these at-home lab tests that this company uses for my clients. But essentially, if you haven't used a at-home functional medicine lab test before, you get a test kit, and in this case, it was a urine sample and a hair sample, and you ship it back to the lab, and then they come back and they send you a bunch of different biomarkers that they've analyzed from your sample, and they found out things about how your body's working internally and what might be going wrong. And so this company provided one consultation with a health coach, uh, complimentary with the purchase of this lab test kit. And that's better than a lot of companies do. A lot of companies will just sell you the lab test, they'll give you the results, and not really much else. They'll just expect that you know what to do with it. And in my opinion, that's not very ethical. But this company did provide a consultation for this non-diagnostic at-home lab test. And what the health coach basically did is he gave me a plan and he said, okay, follow the plan and you'll get better. And not exactly like that, but just wanted to simplify it. The problem with that is I followed that plan and I didn't get better. And I think we can look at a similar principle here of, first of all, in alternative medicine, alternative health, natural health, whatever you want to call it. There is no one size fits all for anything. You can't just do the same thing that somebody else has done and expect to get the same results, because our bodies are all different. And even if you have the same symptoms as someone else, the cause of those symptoms can still be very different. And so you're going to need to address those symptoms in a different way. And that was the same for me. This company, these health coaches had helped thousands of people heal from symptoms just like mine using these protocols that they used. But the problem was that I was different and it didn't work for me. And that oftentimes is a lot more common than you might think. And so this led me on to my third option of how I could heal. And I went to a practitioner. He was actually a chiropractor, but he did a lot more than just chiropractics. Did a lot with alternative medicine, nutritional supplements, things like that. And I went to a chiropractor in my area who was willing to work with me, not just a one-off consultation, but continue and work with me through the things that didn't work, through the hard times, through the, oh shoot, we've got to try something else now. And that is what's important. You have to find someone who not only knows what they're doing, but who is willing to go the distance with you and not give up after one consultation, after two, after three, after four, after however many appointments, however many things you've tried. You need someone in your corner who knows what they're doing, who is persistent, just as persistent as you are, and who wants just as much as you for you to heal. So that's what I learned from my healing journey. I did get better. I don't have those symptoms anymore. And sure, I might be more sensitive in my diet to certain things. For example, I don't usually eat a ton of dairy or gluten, but I do. I'm better, and it's amazing. And if you're still in the thick of your your health challenges, I understand you because I've been there before. And if you whatever stage you're in, if you're in the I I'm still pretty optimistic about this stage, or if you're in the I've tried everything stage, or if you're simply in the this can't be cured camp, that's all right. It doesn't matter where you are as long as you have a desire to get better. And that might sound ridiculous to you. Of course, I want to get better. But that desire also has to be coupled with a willingness to put forth effort and persistence and take time and invest financial resources into healing. But I am living proof here that symptoms that seem to never end, that nothing seems to work with, I'm proof that you can heal. And again, I was never diagnosed with anything. I could probably have gotten diagnosed with SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. I probably could have gotten a bunch of different diagnoses, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, but I wasn't necessarily interested in that. I was interested in healing. So whether or not you have a diagnosis or not, definitely consult with your medical doctor. He can tell you if there's something seriously dangerous and life-threatening going on. But work with someone who you know will stay with you and who will help you heal, and hopefully someone who has been through something like that themselves so they can have empathy for you. And so if that friend of mine is watching, you can heal from PCOS. Those symptoms you're experiencing can go away. It's not something you're doomed to. And in a lot of these cases, we need to look at the underlying root cause factors. And in this case, it's a matter of we need to look more deeply into female hormones than is your progesterone or estrogen out of range on blood work. We need to look at during specific points in your cycle, where is your estrogen and progesterone ratio? A lot of times with women that are very stressed, especially in today's world, or that have toxic exposure, their progesterone levels will be way too low. And relatively, they're then estrogen dominant. This messes up your cycle. This causes so many hormonal issues, so many mood issues, even digestive issues. But we need to look at those things. We need to figure out what is functionally wrong, not just what is qualifying as a disease state on a blood test, but what is functionally wrong that's the root of your symptoms, and we need to work to find out what's causing that and how we can bring it back into balance. Healing can happen. There's a simple process. It's not easy and it's not straightforward, but it's simple. We need to identify the root causes. My favorite way to do that is using at-home lab testing because it's convenient for you and you can really look at what is going on inside your body at that specific moment in time. Second, we need to identify from those results what is going on that is wrong in your body that's causing these symptoms. And third, we need to formulate a plan to remove what is imbalancing your body and then rebalance the things that are out of balance. And by doing so, your symptoms will go away because there's not going to be anything else causing them anymore. And again, I have to make this disclaimer. I'm not curing or treating any sort of disease, but I am stating that when things go wrong in your body and you remove the causes of those symptoms, then by nature and by definition, the symptoms will go away. If you want to heal and you don't have a practitioner that you know will go the distance with you, I would be happy to help you. You can go to my website, it's linked in the description right now, and you can schedule a free 15-minute consultation with me. I call them exploration calls. The reason I do that is because we can just explore together for 15 minutes, just chat and see if we would be a good fit to work with each other. It's important that you feel like you can work with whatever practitioner, whoever you work with. And after that, if we decide that we want to work together, you can apply to my private wellness practice. And it's only $95 a month for 3 months. And for that price, you get 4 consultations with me, not just one. I don't do single consultations, but 4 consultations. One where I listen to you for an hour, one where I explain a plan for you for an hour, and 2 where we follow up for 30 minutes, each 1 month into the plan and then 2 months into the plan and see what's going wrong, what can we adjust, how can we adapt to what you're actually experiencing. And if you want to keep going after that, I'm happy to. I'm not going to give up on you if you don't give up on yourself. And then through all of that, it's a lot more than just 3 hours of my time, but you get weekly email support even in between consultations and hours of my time that I will spend poring over your testing results and your health history that you give me and formulating plans and strategies that we can use to help you heal. If you've enjoyed this podcast, if you felt inspired, or if you know someone who needs inspiration, who is dealing with a chronic health issue, who needs hope and healing, please share this podcast with them. You can send them over to my YouTube channel or to my podcast page on Apple Podcasts and just tell them to listen to the latest episode of Vitally Balanced. I've enjoyed talking with you all today, and I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you all next Thursday.